Aloha, everyone. I'm going to be walking you through the different parts of the things that come with They Say, I Say with readings that you might encounter while in your class right now. So the first thing I want to go over quickly is the ebook functionality. The ebook functionality will be the same between They Say, I Say, or if you use the little Sequel handbook. And this is really just the ways that you can make the most out of using this book. So when you click into the links in La Lima, it's going to take you to this page, which is kind of the table of contents. And then from there, you can actually jump into the book wherever you need to. So we'll just jump in right here. And the first thing to notice is that all of the page numbers and images are going to be exactly the same if you're using a printed book. So if you have both formats, just kind of keep that in mind. But you can always find the page numbers over here on the left-hand side. And then you can always zoom in and out too, depending on your personal preference by using your browser settings. So if you need the font a little bit bigger, that's an easy way to do it. The most important thing to remember is that these three lines in the top left are going to be your main menu option. So when you click into the main menu, it's going to take you directly into the table of contents where, again, we have those page numbers, and it's really easy to jump around. Again, everything is hyperlinked, so you can just click to different sections if you need. The other thing to note is that we do have a search function available for you, and this is a little bit different than if you're like on a computer and you're using the search function or the control F function, where normally that will search the page that you're on. This is going to search the entire book. So if you're looking for different sections that might include something, or if you're looking for something specific, you can type it in. All of your search results will show up down here, and then you can actually filter them by page number or by relevance. And again, those will be hyperlinked, so you can just click on them if you need. So hopefully that's something that will be helpful for you. Some other things to keep in mind that I would really recommend using are if you're coming to a page, like maybe this is a reading that I know I'm going to use multiple times throughout my class, it's really easy to leave bookmarks. And so to do that, you're going to click on these three dots at the bottom and you'll hit add a bookmark. You'll see a little green flag appear. And then if you continue to read and then you're like, oh man, I need to go back to that reading, it's easy to access it again by going to the main menu, clicking on the bookmark flag, and it'll show you exactly where your bookmarks are, the chapter, the subheading, and things like that. And again, you can just click on it and it will take you right there. The other thing that you can do that I would highly recommend doing is you have the ability to annotate in this book. So if you're really proactive, you want to do a good job in this course, I would definitely recommend using these features. And what that means is you have the ability to highlight if you want. So you just scroll over something that you want to highlight and you'll see this new menu pop up in the bottom. And as a student, you have the yellow, pink, and blue options. So you can color code your highlights if you want. And the other thing that you can do is you can leave notes. So if you wanted to annotate or like say this is going to be something important, or if you want to rephrase something in your own words, a lot of the times I recommend doing this. If you see the templated sections, you can actually just scroll over the template and then you'll leave a note by clicking on this pencil icon, and it'll jump up here a little bit, but from there you can actually fill in the blanks in the template. So you could just have like, this is what I'm saying here. And then once you hit the check mark, it's going to save that. So I would definitely use this. The nice thing about this is most ebooks are kind of like PDF. So you can highlight and take notes all you want, and you'll probably never find them again. All of your notes and highlights in the ebooks though from Norton will get saved, and they're really easy to find again. So basically you'll just click on that main menu, you'll go down to the pencil icon, and from here, you can see I've actually taken a ton of notes throughout this book. It tells you exactly the chapter and the subheading for all of your notes. It's going to tell you if there's highlighted text on that page, and it's also going to tell you exactly what your notes say. So here's the note that I just left, but maybe I wanted to jump to a different note, and then I can just click on this and it will take me here. So here's an example of where I highlighted over a template in the ebook, and then I filled out my answers right here. So I would highly recommend using that. I think that this will be a really effective tool for you as you're taking your course. The other thing, just in case it's helpful, is we do have an e-reader function available for you if that's something that's helpful if you're an auditory listener or an auditory learner. And so there's two ways to access that. The first is if you just want it to read a specific section, you'll highlight over it, you'll click this ear option.
Entering the
It is going to be a computerized voice, but then from there, it's going to read it out loud to you, and you have the ability to slow it down or speed it up based on personal preference. And you also have a ton of voice reader options for you. So I heard a lot during the pandemic that students were super into having like British people read them their books. You have that option if you'd like. The other way to access this is actually from these three dots at the bottom. And if you start with the three dots at the bottom and you hit read aloud, this is different because it's actually going to
introduction.
start at the the very top of the page and read all the way to the bottom for you. So just something to keep in mind, but that's a quick overview of the ebook functionality. And like I said, I do hope you use it. I think it's really helpful, especially if you're trying to be really proactive about your course. Oh, one thing to note too on that is that all of the notes that you take in this book, you have the ability to print them out. So if we go back to that notes section, you'll see at the top here, you can print out all of your notes. So this is kind of one way to make a quick study guide for yourself. The other thing you can do is if you have a lot of notes, you can search within your own notes. So you can actually filter down and kind of see like if you're looking for something specific, it'll help you find it that way. So I hope that's helpful for you for the ebook. Some other things that might be helpful that you might use in your course, we do have Inquisitive for writers. So these are going to be adaptive quizzes that really are just meant to help you. Your instructor likely isn't going to assign all of these, but basically the point of these is to either help you brush up on some grammatical kind of situations that you might need some practice in. So like comma splices is always a big one, or just to help you with research things. So just to quickly jump in, we'll start with comma splices. This is going to tie directly to the Little Seagull Handbook. So the nice thing about that is if you have questions, you can always go to the Little Seagull Handbook. And for students, it's going to look like this. This is basically just telling you like you can bet points, your progress is saved. So if you only have 5 minutes, you can jump in and work on this and then come back to it later, and it's not going to make you start all over. But this is the important section down here that you want to pay attention to is how am I graded? So for this activity, you'll always see there's going to be a minimum number of questions that it will tell you. So for this activity, it's 8, and it's always going to give you a target score. So for this activity, it's 800 points. What this means is after 8 questions, you can just stop if you want to be done with the activity. But once you answer 8 questions, it's going to give you a score. And at that point, you can keep going until you get to 800 points. And if you get to 800 points, you will get 100%. So it's just meant to be practice. The more effort you put in or the more time you spend in here, the better your grades will be. But they're going to be different situations kind of like this. The first thing you should do is look at this and think, do I know how to answer this question? And that's how you're going to bet your points is with this confidence slider. And then from there, if you look at this and you're like, wow, I really don't know, like I have no idea. We do have the page numbers for the Little Seagull Handbook, and you can actually click on that and then review exactly what you need in order to answer the question. So this is going to go over comma splices, and then you can come back and answer from there. Once you do this, you will get some feedback that's either going to tell you, it'll give you definitions. Sometimes too, it'll tell you like, this was one way you could fix it, but you also could have done this. So there's going to be a lot of really good feedback in here as well. When you're going through, you'll always be able to see how many more questions you need to answer before you can stop. And then if you finish the activity or you answered your 8 questions and you want to look at your progress, you can always click into this box. It's going to show you how you're doing based off of the questions right here. Green dots mean you got it right, red dots mean you got it wrong. But you can actually click on this and it will show you exactly where in the handbook you can find these sections. So if you notice that you really like didn't do so hot on one of them, it'll give you the page numbers that you can go back in and review on your own. So I would keep that in mind. That's one of the grammar ones. Something else are going to be like these arguments. For this one, this is elements of an argument. These are meant to be kind of like what you would see when you're actually Googling things on your own, when you're doing your own research. And so again, we'll see this one's a little bit more robust. There's 20 questions and you need to get to 1,500 points to get 100%. But then if we jump in here, you can see it's going to start off true or false. But again, if you need, the first thing you should do is bet your points, and then you can review the handbook if you need, and then you'll kind of go from there. Some other questions too are going to look like this, and so it'll actually have you fill in the blanks, but it should be a lot more fun hopefully than just like a static homework assignment. So I hope that you enjoy those. I think the only other thing your instructor mentioned she might be using are these They Say I Said tutorials. And so these are just meant to be low stakes tutorials that are really meant to help you with your writing. And what they're doing is they're taking all of the templates from the book itself, and they're actually having you do an activity based around those templates. So for this one, it's going to relate to chapter 2. And when you jump in here, you're actually going to start on this page, which is going to explain the point of the tutorial. From there, it's going to have you read something. So this is likely another reading either from the book or just like an extra reading for you. From there, it's going to have you actually answer some questions. So like, can you identify these strategies from the book? And if you need to review, it's nice if you can click on this page and it's going to actually open the book, the reading that you just had for it, so you can review. And then the last thing is going to be to practice your own writing. So when you get in here, these are meant to be written tutorials. So your instructor can go back and grade grade these if they want to. But if you don't know where to start, if you do know where to start, you can just jump in and start answering the question. But if you don't know where to start, there's this templates tab right here. And you can actually pull the templates from the book. So these are all of the templates that are covered in the book, and it'll actually just put it here. And then you can just fill in the blanks with whatever you were going to say. So that's a quick and easy way to do that. Once you're done, it will say you got 100%, but your instructor, like I said, can go back and actually grade your written responses. So I hope this was helpful, and good luck with your class.